What is vibe coding? It basically means writing software by describing what you want in plain English and letting an AI generate the actual code. You prompt, it produces, you ship. GitHub Copilot, Cursor, Claude, ChatGPT, these tools are genuinely impressive. I use them, and most engineers I know use them too. They speed things up, they handle boilerplate, they are good at the obvious stuff. And that is exactly what makes this interesting. Because the more you trust the output, the less you actually read it. And that's just human nature. When something works on the first try, you stop questioning it. You move on, you ship faster. AI coding tools are optimized for one thing: producing code that does what you asked. That is their job. They are very good at it. But doing what you asked and being secure are two completely different things. And the model has no way to know the difference. To understand why, you have to look at how these models actually learn to write code. When an LLM learns to write code, it learns from billions of lines of real code. Open source repos, tutorials, Stack Overflow answers, documentation. It's pattern matching at a massive scale. Now think about what that training data looks like. Most code on the internet is not production grade security hardened code. It is a tutorial code, demo code, code written to explain a concept, not to handle a real attacker. So the model learns the patterns of average code, and average code has security problems. The model is not cutting corners. It genuinely does not have the context you have as an engineer. It doesn't know that this endpoint is going to be exposed publicly. It doesn't know your users include people actively trying to break your system. It doesn't know your compliance requirements. It writes but looks right given the prompt. And most prompts don't say, write this with OWASP top 10 in mind. Now, before I walk through the specific example, a quick bit of context. OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. They put out a list called the OWASP Top 10. It's basically the 10 most common and most damaging classes of security vulnerabilities in web applications. The list is updated every few years based on real breach data from real companies. What's interesting is that the list has not changed dramatically over time. Injection, attacks, broken access control, hard-coded secrets, these have been on the list for years. We know about them, we have known about them for a long time. And they still show up constantly in production code. AI coding tools did not create these problems, but they are making them show up a lot more, a lot faster. Let me walk you through the 4 that come up most in AI-generated code. This is textbook SQL injection. The AI wrote it because this pattern is everywhere in tutorials. The fix? Parameterized queries. It's also everywhere. But the model has no way to know which version of the pattern it's in unless you tell it. One line difference, completely different risk profile. Now here's an example of hard-coded secrets. Here, the model puts secrets inline because that is what most examples do. It has no concept of your environment variables, your secret manager, your CI/CD pipeline. It writes what makes the code runnable in isolation. You catch this in code review? Maybe. But at 3 a.m. reviewing your 5th PR of the day, it's easy to miss. Broken access control is even trickier because it's not about a single line. It's about what's missing. The AI built the endpoint you asked for. It just didn't add the only admins can call this check because you didn't ask for it. The authorization logic is implied to you. It's invisible to the model. This shows up when AI generated code for session handling, caching, or data transfer. Pickle in Python is the classic example. Easy to use, but absolute nightmare if you ever deserialize attacker control input. The model uses it because it works for the happy path. 4 vulnerabilities, all well known, all still shipping in 2024 and 2025 in AI-generated code. And the reason they keep showing up has less to do with the AI and more to do with who is reviewing the output. Now, here is where it gets really interesting from an engineering leadership perspective. Senior engineers know these patterns. They have seen what happens when you concatenate user input directly into a SQL query. They have made the mistake of committing a secret to a public repo and had to rotate credentials at 2 a.m. They have read the postmortems. They carry that experience with them when they review code. But who is actually using AI coding tools the most aggressively? I guess junior developers, new graduates, people who are learning to code with AI as a co-pilot from day one. They are not cutting corners. They are working hard. The AI produces clean-looking code. The test pass. The PR looks good. And they have no reasons to be suspicious. And your code review process, even with senior reviewers, was never really designed for security. It was designed for correctness, readability, and maintainability. So you have a pipeline where AI generated code faster than ever. Junior engineers ship it with confidence, and code review catches the obvious stuff but misses the security layer. And nobody in that chain is doing anything wrong. And that is a structural problem. And structural problems need structural solutions. So what does that actually look like? The answer has been in the industry for a while. It just matters a lot more now. Now, the phrase shift left gets thrown around a lot, so let me just explain what it actually means in practice. The earlier in the development process you catch a bug, the cheaper it is to fix. That's the whole idea. Bug caught in your IDE even before you commit cost you 5 minutes. The same bug caught in production after a breach cost you weeks of incident response, plus whatever damage was done. Shifting left means moving your security checks as early as possible in the pipeline, ideally into the developer's own environment, before the code ever leaves their machine. And this is exactly where static analysis tools fit. They analyze your code without running it. They look at the structure, the patterns, the data flow, and they flag issues based on known vulnerability classes, logic errors, code quality issues, and data flow problems. No attacker needed, no test environment, just the code. Now, the good ones do this in real time, right in your IDE. You write the vulnerable line, it flags it immediately. Same feedback loop as a syntax error, but for security. And this is what makes it realistic to actually fix the AI-generated code problem. You don't need to slow down. You don't need to add a separate security review cycle. You need the check to happen in the flow, not after it. So I took that vulnerable login code from the start of the video, pushed it to my GitHub repo, and connected it to SonarQube Cloud. No special setup, just point it at the repo, click setup, and it starts scanning your default branch. 30 seconds later, here's the result. 1,800 lines of code, 11 security issues, 12 reliability issues, 15 maintainability issues on a tiny login app that an AI tool would have happily shipped in 2 minutes. Now let me filter to security. 11 issues, 4 blockers, and that's SonarQube's highest severity. Do not merge. Now let me open the SQL injection one. SonarQube isn't just flagging a bad line. It's showing me the entire path the bad data takes through my code. The source is in app.js. A user can craft an HTTP request with malicious content. The sink, 10 steps later, is in db.js, the unsafe call that actually runs the query. So Sonar traced the tainted data from the HTTP request through the login handler into the database call. And that's taint analysis. It's not pattern matching on the word select. It actually understands the data flow. And on the line itself, it tells me exactly why this is dangerous. The concatenation propagates malicious content into the SQL string. 11 security issues, 4 blockers, every single one of these would have shipped if I trusted the AI-generated code. Now, Sonar recently released something called SonarQube Agentic Analysis. The idea is to move the check inside the loop, so the agent verifies its own code against SonarQube while it is still working, not later. So how does the agent talk to SonarQube? SonarQube gives you an MCP server and we connect it to the coding agent. Here, that is Claude code. Now here we do not want to trigger the analysis by hand every time. So in the project, we add claude.md file. Think of it as a standing instruction the agent reads at the start of every session. It says, after you write or change code, run the analysis. And if anything comes back, fix it and run it again until it is clean. Watch what happens. We ask the agent to add one small function. It writes the code and then on its own, it calls SonarQube to check its work. The analysis comes back and flags a real problem, a hard-coded database password sitting in the connection. The agent does not wait for a pull request, and it does not wait for review. It fixes the issue right there, moves the password to an environment variable, and then reruns the analysis to confirm. Think about what this means in an AI-first development workflow. AI writes the code, SonarQube catches the issues in real time, the agent fixes them on the spot, and a human reviews the final result. That's the loop. Guide, verify, and solve. And it's more reliable because the check happens on every line, every commit, every PR. Not just when a senior engineer happens to catch something in review. You see, AI coding tools are not going away. They can be genuinely useful. But using them well has to include knowing their limits. They write code that works. They don't write code that's secure unless you build that check into your process. So do check out SonarQube at the link in the description. And if you found this video useful, there's a lot more on this channel on AI infrastructure, system design, and the actual engineering decisions that matter at scale. I'll see you in the next one.